Hey guys, Colorado Camperman Brian here. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys our camper and what it looks like after being used for over 10 years. So this is a 2010 Keystone Hideout 27BWE, and it was actually manufactured in 2009. The guy that had it before us, I don't know if he had used it in the summer of 09 or if his first summer was in 2010. But either way, we've owned it since the summer of 2014. So this will be our 7th season in the camper. Total mileage, I would say we've driven anywhere from 10 to maybe 15,000 miles. Most of the trips that we do are local, so like a camping trip for us, round trip would maybe be a couple hundred miles, things of that nature. So it's not like we're going, you know, across country or anything like that. But really the goal of the video, I want to show you guys some things that are still working well with our camper given its age, and some problems and issues that we've had. Maybe there are issues we've already fixed or are planning on fixing. But I just want to give you guys a general idea of, you know, long term, what you might be able to expect if you just bought a camper, new camper, and are wondering what's going to happen to it in the long term. Or maybe you're looking at buying an older camper and you want to know what issues you might be able to expect. This video could be helpful. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and start in the back of the camper. Overall, our bathroom has been extremely solid. We have had no plumbing issues. We've had like no leaks or anything. Our bathroom has been pretty awesome. I mean, we did have one of these caps come off, you know, the handles, but again, nothing really serious. The other thing that we did have happen, I'll put a link to the video, we needed to replace basically like this seal because the toilet wasn't holding water. But, you know, again, it was a pretty easy fix and nothing really significant for a camper that is over 10 years old. So the bathroom has worked out great for us. With the bathroom, you know, our door still closes and everything. It's not like the frame has gotten screwed up or anything like that. Like, it still closes and everything great. The fantastic fan, or the fan in there, still works. Our vent up here still works by our bunks. The window opens properly. The blinds are kind of messed up, but that's from our 3-year-old son. So that was nothing that, you know, is fault of the manufacturer. Again, nothing serious over here. Our fridge still works awesome. We primarily use it on propane. We hardly ever camp with hookups, so we pretty much only do off-grid camping, or we go to campsites that do not have hookups. Right now we have it winterized, so that's why I have that panel open down there. But that still works great. Our microwave, we hardly use it, but when we have our generator and stuff, we do use it, and it works great. The fan in our hood still works. Our oven works awesome. Really, we haven't had a whole lot of problems here, honestly. I did replace this faucet years ago, which I'll put a link to a video on that. But that was pretty easy, very straightforward. All of our lights and tank indicator, you know, the levels and stuff, that all works fine. Our water heater, the electrical heating element did go out, which I actually am going to have to replace. Our pump still works, but it has gotten noisier over the years. Also, all of our cabinets, they all still close perfectly. Like, we haven't had any issues with any of them. The hinges all still are fine. Again, we haven't really had any issues. All the light fixtures are the original fixtures. We did switch out the bulbs to LEDs. So we did do that. That's kind of an upgrade, I guess you would say. One thing that definitely has happened over the years, and it continues to happen, is these valances. This one I've already had to re-screw in place, but I do need to fix this one on our big window because it has started to come off. And these blinds, we're probably going to end up replacing these as well, because it's kind of silly to access the window opener right there you end up, if you keep the blinds in like this, you have to pull them down and do that. And the blinds are there's brackets here, so if you want to lift the blind up, you have to take it out of the bracket, and we've had to re-screw those because the holes just don't. If you put anchors in, they kind of work a little bit better, but you know, it's just kind of cheap, like particle board here in the walls, so the screws don't really, they don't hold up the longest in there. The radio still works plenty good. It also has a DVD player, which I know new campers probably don't do that anymore, I don't think, but you run these old auxiliary plugs, if you guys remember those. We put a TV here, and yeah, everything still works great when we put a TV there and everything. Our antenna still works with the little power button. I don't have a battery, or I'm not hooked up right now because I'm just at our house. We did have a door here. We did take it off just because with our dog and our son, when we opened it up, it was kind of in the way. But up until we took it off again, the door shut nicely. There was never any issues with it there. In our little bedroom here, again, the doors, they closed good and everything. My wife's closet is open right now just because she was going through some stuff. But again, no issues in here. Our antenna still goes up, no problem. The speakers work. In here, under our bed, these struts are starting to go out. So that is one thing. We probably are going to have to replace those this summer. But overall, I mean, on the inside, we really have not had any issues. Even the carpet, there's a little bit of carpet there. It's starting to wear, but it's really not that bad for what I would expect. And same thing with the flooring. Here's one thing that I'm hoping we'll be able to see this. Our door, and this is kind of inside outside I guess, but our door is cracking like crazy. I'll give you guys a better shot of it, but that is one big thing that is definitely happened here. You can probably see a little bit better right here, but it is cracking. It is cracking really bad, but the door locks and closes good still, so that's okay. But man, that thing is cracking horribly. Alright, one thing that I did want to mention before we go outside is the fact that our furnace and our air conditioner both work great still. We have had no problems with them. The air conditioner, honestly, we hardly ever run just because, again, we don't camp where we have hookups and stuff, but it still works great. And the furnace definitely works. We use that actually quite a bit, and that still works really good. So here's just a better look at the cracks in the door. This is probably one of our biggest things that has happened. And I don't know if it's because water has gotten in there or if it's just, the fact that the camper is 11 years old. But that is definitely something that we need to address for sure. One thing that has happened, I did a sort of a small repair on this last summer, but it's our awning. The fabric needs to be replaced, so it still goes out just fine. You manually put it out, but the fabric does need to be replaced. The other thing that really has been looking bad for quite a few years is the decals. The decals have just gotten destroyed. Here in Colorado, the guy that we bought it from, he lived at 9,500 feet, and then when we lived in Colorado Springs, we were about 6,400 feet, and then here we're still at about 4,500 feet where we live now down in Pueblo. A couple minor things, we're missing a cap here. I have had to re-caulk around, a lot of this stuff, like this outlet. Most of the issues that we're having on the camper are all exterior. The compound that goes between the wall and the windows is definitely drying out. So what I was planning on doing this summer is, just putting some new, just caulking on the top, because this actually, I forgot what this material is called, but they basically put this in and then they smush the window in there at the manufacturing plant, so you can't really replace it without taking the window out. Down here, a little wheel well cover is cracked on both sides. That happened quite a few years ago. The other huge issue, which I'm going to be fixing here, is our rear axle ended up getting bent, which apparently is very common on a tandem axle trailer. The rear axle will get bent just from, you know, curb check-in or, you know, bumpy roads. I mean, these things take a beating for sure, and they don't have the best suspension systems on them from the factory. So that's another thing I'm going to be doing. I'm actually going to be swapping out this this original hanger that goes between the two leaf springs, and I'm going to upgrade that to a MoreRide CRE 3000 system and put some wet bolts in there to give us a better and smoother ride. On the outside, we did have some carpeting on the steps, which that kind of wore off, but or they just popped off. But you know, steps obviously still work. They operate just fine, so nothing wrong with those. Our jacks, our scissor jacks, they still work. Nothing wrong with those either. They're a little squeaky, but we just throw some WD-40 on them and they're good. These locks, we did change these out to whatever style that is. I forgot what the name is for them, but we actually had the key break off from the old original ones. And then this is another very common thing that happens, and this is happening all over. Wherever we have this little rubber piece, it's popping out, and it's doing it not on this side but on the other side as well. You can kind of see it maybe over there in that corner. But so I'm going to redo that all over the camper. Our spouts up there, the little downspout, I guess you'd call it, we've also had those break off due to hail, and we have had some hail damage as well. You can kind of see some dings just from the aluminum, which here in Colorado, you know, after this being around here for 11 years, it's, you know, you're going to get a hailstorm at that time that would probably total out a aluminum side trailer. So again, decals, you know, not in the best shape. Our cover for the propane, that thing still looks good. Our jack here, this does need to be greased. It still works. I did have to weld it in a couple spots just to, I don't know how to describe it, but I did have to weld it there just to kind of fix it, and it does need to be greased up. We also did have one of these fuses that you see here with these red covers. One of those did go out this summer, so we did have to replace that. Here's another look at that corner piece. You can see, again, that needs to be redone. A lot of the seals, I have gone around and re-caulked this over the years, you know, around the door and stuff, which I'll just have to continually do. But not too much on this side. This did break off on the water, freshwater tank. We had a, you know, the little chain, we had to put that on there because the strap that was on there broke off. This wheel well cover again is kind of cracked on some of the screws. I thought, yeah, back here it's pretty much, it just flops around, which is kind of annoying. Again, the water heater, the electrical element does need to be replaced, so we only use it on propane right now. Fridge still works great, again, no issues there. Our dump tanks, we haven't had any problems with that. My in-laws, they've had crazy issues with their Keystone and the valves not working, but we haven't had any problems. Our brakes still work fine. This is our second set of tires. They have gotten super worn from that bent axle. But that's pretty much it. We got the black tank flush, which we love. We've never actually replaced any bulbs in any of our lights, and they all still work. So that's awesome. We did lose the covers for the bumper where your Stinky Slinky goes, so we installed these bumper hatches, which those are really nice. So it's like a little door that you open up to access your Stinky Slinky, and they have a little vent. So those are really nice that we put on. But that's pretty much it as far as the outside goes. Again, our camper, oh yeah, we got to hop up on the roof. So let's grab a ladder and let's hop up on the roof, and I'll show you guys what it looks like up there. Alright guys, so we're up here on the roof, just checking out these vent covers. I did install these because the actual covers had gotten smoked in that hailstorm that I talked about. And these are kind of starting to take a beating, but I think I put these on, I think the summer after we bought it. So they're 6 years old now. I've had to, you know, reseal some of the die core and stuff over time, but nothing too big. You know, our antenna still looks good. Overall, our roof membrane actually looks really good still. I know it's, you know, kind of discolored in some areas, but there's not really any worn areas or anything like that. Our AC cover does have a crack here, but again, the AC works just fine. Nothing wrong there. Here's our vent cover for our refrigerator. Everything's still good there. And then these caps here for the sewer and stuff. That one is the original one. I did have to replace this one over here because it did get cracked. And then here again is one of those Camco vent covers. I put those on there. 3 vents that we have. But overall, it looks pretty good. Again, for, you know, being 11 years old, I think it looks pretty good. So here is again those, you know, little corner bead pieces. I forgot what the name is, but yeah, I will have to replace these everywhere. And I have had to do sealant here, you know, between this plastic piece and the rubber membrane on the roof. I have had to reseal that. I was doing that annually. I haven't done it in a while. One thing that is happening too, our roof is starting to chalk. So I don't know if that means that it's going towards the end of its life or what. If you guys have any experience with these roofs, please let me know. I'd love to know if that's a sign that this is going to need to be replaced or we need a new rubber membrane. I would love to know. So please let me know. Alright guys, well that pretty much does it. Overall, we've honestly been very happy with our camper. It hasn't really had that many issues in our perspective. You know, we hear horror stories of people buying campers and, you know, they have to immediately take them back to the dealer, or in the first, you know, year or two, they have to continually bring it back. And, you know, we just haven't had very many repairs or issues with this thing. Nothing that's been beyond what we couldn't do ourselves. Now granted, we are kind of handy and can do a lot of this stuff ourselves, but you know, we still just haven't had that many problems in comparison to what I've heard other people go through. And even my in-laws, they have a Keystone as well, and they had the water heater go out. They've had some plumbing issues, their dump tank valves, quite a few issues for sure. So what's been your guys' experience with your campers? How long have they lasted? Have they lasted just a couple years? Are you guys on, you know, 10, 15, 20 plus years? What manufacturers have you guys found are good out there too? I'd love to know. So put them in the comments below. Otherwise, throw a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.